technically speaking, we haven't truly entered phase two of the banana zone yet. We've just picked up the banana again.
That's
but we
right.
haven't.
It'll be when
Yeah,
Bitcoin breaks its new highs, which I
all-time
think is
high.
probably next week, because we get to the top, we consolidate a bit, and
Yeah.
then it goes, and then everything goes. And the banana zone really won't kick in the terms of the way that people think, where everybody's getting hilariously rich and all sorts of stuff, probably until Solana breaks all-time highs. Because that's
Yeah.
people's biggest bag, really, is Solana.
Yeah.
And that needs to happen. Then risk gets recycled out the curve, because people do simple maths, and everybody's going to do it. Oh, they start saying, okay, maybe Bitcoin goes to 300,000 this cycle, let's say. So therefore, it's got a 3x from here. And then they're like, oh, but Solana could do a 5x from here, and Sui could do a 10x from here. And before you know it, everybody rushes out the risk curve because it's later in the cycle and they want to capture as much gains as possible.
Raoul Pal suggests the crypto market is on the verge of entering the banana zone, a phase of explosive growth. While Bitcoin is nearing its all-time high, the true altcoin frenzy will begin once it breaks through decisively, followed by Solana reclaiming its peak. This will signal a shift in investor sentiment, with capital flowing into higher-risk assets like Ethereum, meme coins, and NFTs. Historically, Bitcoin's dominance peaks before altcoins take off, marking the start of the silly season. Pal points to 2017 and 2021 as examples, where altcoins surged as Bitcoin's dominance dropped. This cycle, he expects Ethereum and Solana to lead, with NFTs and meme coins also seeing massive gains as liquidity floods the market. Pal predicts the banana zone will last until July, fueled by strong liquidity trends. A pullback may follow in August, but the overall market structure remains bullish. Once Solana breaks out, he anticipates a full-blown altcoin rally, with investors chasing the highest returns across the crypto ecosystem.
Funny to me is we've kind of proven that liquidity is 90% of the price movement of crypto and 97.5% of the NASDAQ. So it is the dominant macro factor, but people don't want to believe it. And because like global M2 leads by 3 months, what happened is in Q4, global liquidity was draining because the dollar went up and rates went up and etc. And so that has the knock-on effect in Q1. And then what everybody does is apply narrative in Q1. It's the tariffs, the world's fucked, we're going to recession. It was nothing to do with that. It was just the liquidity. So it's kind of like, yeah, it was this easy. Now, what it will do, it will decouple at some point. And normally it decouples in the bull phase of the cycle and then the full bear phase, because that's when fear and greed take over. And like the FOMO part of it is when network adoption increases massively, and it starts breaking away from M2, which is why it only has a 90% correlation, not 100%. So I think we'll see that now. And it's just saying now is, if this continues to play out, it's just banana zone from now until July. And then we've got to think 3 months in advance. So what we've had is the dollar correcting the last couple of weeks, rates correcting. So we should see the market correct in August.
Yeah.
And maybe it's as simple as that. And that would be very consistent with previous cycles as well. Everyone's scratching their head saying, why has gold been doing so well and crypto hasn't? And I thought, I know there's going to be a simple answer to this. It's not going to be some complex thing. And in the last GMI, I figured out that all gold does is follow financial conditions, which lead. So it's kind of real time. And then crypto follows with a 3-month lag. So it's like, oh, I get it now. So gold is just representing the fact that financial conditions, and we define financial conditions as the dollar, rates, and oil. Those are the kind of big daddies of it. Once they start moving, gold moves. So gold has been correcting somewhat because they've started to correct. And so gold is actually leading this because it just is real-time financial conditions, while Bitcoin and crypto and NASDAQ is just lagged by 3 months. It's as simple as that. I'm like, I can't believe it. I put out a tweet at the actual peak of Bitcoin dominance and said, I think dominance has peaked. I think it has. It's the right point in the cycle. It's this part in the banana zone when it happens. It usually happens after this first correction. So if that's right, and let's say Bitcoin goes from 100K to 150K for easy maths, then if you look at the performance of the other tokens, you can kind of impute. So it broke out of this basing pattern. It flagged, consolidated. My guess is the next move breaks through all of this. And so that tells us that SUI is still the fastest horse in the race.
Yeah.
ETH, different question, because I think it can play catch up. But if we look at this, it just looks like it's flagging here again. And the next move is again the move where we should see a dramatic outperformance of SUI versus SOL. And I really simplify everything, because if we've got one dominant factor, and the dominant factor being liquidity, therefore everything is correlated. So therefore, just do one chart against the other and choose the strongest asset without going too far out the risk curve. But basically, this is a flag pattern. When this goes, ETH has its next move up, wherever it goes to. That's a shocking chart if this plays out, because it will change everybody's narrative again about ETH. I still think ETH from here, could it outperform Solana? It's possible. It's possible. Just because what I think is coming is, as the financial system comes, you don't get fired for building on ETH. My idea is ETH is Microsoft. I've never been to a bank, an insurance company, a large corporate that has Apple Macs. It's all on Microsoft. Why? Because it's an operating system that everybody can use, and you can hire people, fire people, bring in new people, and they don't have to learn something new. But if you were to build the entire financial system on SUI, everyone has to learn a move language. There's less number of developers. It's not had the Lindy effects that ETH has. Now, also the banks love a layer 2, because they feel like they've got control over certain things, but it still has the finality of settlement to the layer 1. So I think ETH is probably going to shock people going forwards. But, XRP looks like it will too, and so does Doge. So it's kind of like everything's correlated.
Yeah.
But if we can break that high, if we can break that, let's say 4,300 high, it's going to really explode. I think we do have an NFT season.
Yeah.
Somewhat different than the last. I think what we're seeing is a current bifurcation. One is Web3 consumer-based brands being built. And, we'll talk about what you guys are doing.
Yep.
But, that's Doodles, Pudgy Penguins, all of that, right? And that still seems to be capturing mind share. Then we've got the art side, which seems to be doing well. Then we've got the PFP side, which, there are a few projects that will survive. And Punks, going to the hands of Mickey Malko, who's a good friend of mine, is amazing news. I managed to get the head of the SUI Foundation over drinks one night in Dubai at 11 o'clock at night to get a Punk. I said, the reality is you cannot be in the space and having been reasonably successful without owning a Punk, right? It's a rite of passage. Yeah. And so, I think Punks probably get to a floor price of $500,000 this cycle, just because there's a lot of OGs who haven't yet bought.
Raoul Pal predicts crypto's banana zone, a period of explosive growth, will begin when Bitcoin breaks its all-time high, followed by Solana doing the same. This will trigger massive altcoin rallies as investors chase higher returns. Historically, Bitcoin dominance peaks before capital floods into altcoins. Pal expects this pattern to repeat, with Ethereum and Solana leading the charge. While a summer pullback is possible, the overall trend remains strongly bullish for crypto markets.
The average billionaire has like 4 or 5 houses. Beyond that, you can't buy anything. So what happens is the value of the art in their houses is 10x the value of their house.
Yeah.
Because art is a store of value, it's exchangeable, it's transportable. It's actually a very, very good store of wealth. So I'm just thinking as a long-term bet, by 10 years, some of these X copies will have traded at $200 million. We will see record prices in art in this space.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a bunch of people experimenting with, yet again, token-based economies based around IP and stuff. You're doing it. You kind of backed into it the other way round. The others have done it the other way. Nobody's yet to get it right. But all of our thesis is somehow this should connect to an ecosystem in a way that works. So whether Doodles can pull it off, whether you guys pull it off, I don't know, but somebody's going to get there. We just don't know the mechanism to accrue value to the token in a way that does it, whether it's via buybacks or whether it's via opportunity sets or loyalty points or whatever. we keep creating these token economies and they keep failing because there's an airdrop, people then just dump it, there's no real use for the token, and then it gets forgotten. So I don't even know why people do it most of the time, because the actual founding team don't retain much of it. The thing falls 90% afterwards.
And you have a liability.
What have you done? What have you done that's added any value? I love what you're doing, and I love that you're pushing it hard to try and do it, because somebody's going to get this right.
Yeah, somebody's going to get it right.
It's the same with the creator economy. It's the same with sports teams. It's the same with brands. Somebody's going to crack this, and the whole thing is going to fucking explode. Whether it's this cycle, we get the first look at it, then we get the Lindy effect, and then after that is the big one. But it's coming. I know it is. It's been part of my core thesis. So I love how you guys are experimenting. You know, the Doodles one, does that work? I don't know, but they have. I mean, I caught up with Austin the other day. They have a lot of ideas of what they want to do to create true value from it. So it's not just a meme coin in itself. Meme coins is okay. I don't have an issue with it. But really, if somebody can figure out how to make an economy, then we've got something big, really big.
Raoul Pal predicts Bitcoin and Solana breaking all-time highs will trigger the banana zone, crypto's most explosive growth phase. This typically sparks massive altcoin rallies as investors chase higher returns, with Ethereum, NFTs and meme coins leading the charge. Temporary pullbacks may occur, but the overall trend remains strongly bullish. As we approach this potential turning point, which altcoins are you most bullish on? And do you think NFTs or meme coins will outperform this cycle? Share your thoughts below.